Hello everyone, greetings from sunny Greece. Book or music video, how Own Voices picture books revolutionized verbal and visual media. In discussing the impact of the strongly influential Own Voices picture book, it is considered crucial to engage in an initial exposition of the textual and metatextual elements which the structure of a picture book exhibits. A picture book is a self-contained story under the limit of 1,000 words, with the Goldilocks zone being around 500 to 700 words. It is mainly addressed to children aged 4 to 7, although there are many picture books available for 12-year-old children too, mainly non-fiction works. A picture book needs to be brief and extremely well structured. At the same time, a picture book needs to be particularly careful with emotional resonance. For young children, a final return to normalcy is of utmost concern. Very intense emotions, even excitement, can lead children to anxiety and a sensation of being ungrounded. On a parallel level, appropriacy remains a constant concern in the domain of picture books. References to violence and painful anguish are avoided at all costs. Furthermore, in order to facilitate comprehension, the narrative voice needs to be straightforward. Most picture books have a third-person or omniscient point of view, even though there are other narrative schemata available. It could be argued that the overall objective when creating a picture book is to keep the message condensed, while at the same time striving for a direct and engaging diction, mainly through the dramatic tension ingrained in successful page turns. All in all, the picture book is among the most complex multi-level literary works available for sale. Being fiction, poetry, and drama, the picture book forms a highly intertextual form of art. To demonstrate the amazing fusion of fiction, poetry, and drama in picture books, it is necessary to offer an example. The first spread of Sophie Blackall's Caldecott Medal awarded Hello Lighthouse reads: "On the highest rock of a tiny island, at the edge of the world, stands a lighthouse. It is built to last forever, sending its light out to sea, guiding the ships on their way. From dusk to dawn the lighthouse beams. Hello, 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 lighthouse." If we add Blackall's breathtaking art into the equation, this is the beautiful cover. The metatextual characteristic of a picture book quickly become apparent. The right picture book not only promotes readership and shapes future readers, but also helps to enhance cognitive abilities such as the ability to visualize and to perceive immaterially. In the world of publishing, maybe even in the world of the humanities in general, few domains had been more incompatible with racial diversity than picture books. The reason for this is ingrained not only in stereotype and exclusionary social practice, but also within the very process of creation and distribution of picture books. Under the heading "Keeping it Internationally Acceptable" and "Internationally Neutral Characters," author, poet, and children's publishing insider Andrea Shavik sheds light upon the traditional norms related to the creation of picture books. Quote, "Do not include things in your story which are only used or made or eaten in your particular part of the world. Do not include things in your story which feature prominently in your own local landscape. Do not write a story which features specific buildings and places. Avoid stories featuring characters wearing local dress. In other words, if you want to sell your work to a picture book publisher, it will have to appeal to everyone, everywhere. Even one little whiff of local color is enough to deter a publisher." Unquote. For a great number of years, to keep illustrating and publishing costs low while at the same time enjoying a high degree of international distribution, internationally neutral meant either the illustration of animal characters or Caucasian children only. Children who weren't white never got the opportunity to see someone who looked like them in books. as the worldview of young children usually revolves around a specific room, a specific street, a specific neighborhood, a specific school, specific little whiffs of local color, and the specific physical characteristics of their family members, it becomes clear that for a wide array of diverse children, picture books spoke a foreign tongue. The words of cultural critic Edward Said are keenly brought to mind. Quote, "Universality means taking a risk in order to go beyond the easy certainties provided us by our background, language, nationality, which so often shields us from the reality of others. It also means looking for and trying to uphold a single standard for human behavior when it comes to such matters as foreign and social policy." Unquote. Publishing workforce demographics complicates the issue of race even further. When Leon Lowe Books conducted and released the first extended diversity baseline survey in 2015, everyone was astonished to learn that in the US, a whopping 79% of workers in publishing were white. The situation was as discouraging concerning the race of published authors too. In Representation of People of Color Among Children's Book Authors and Illustrators, funded by the Arts Council England, Dr. Melanie Ramdarshan-Bold found that in 2017, only 5.58% of children's books creators were people of color, creating a percentage of unique titles as small as 4.02%. As the Own Voices movement acquired increasing momentum 10 years ago, a wide array of practices of racial exclusion in children's publishing began to be scrutinized. During the past 5 years especially, the Own Voices picture book sparked nothing less than a revolution, with existing publishers expanding massively and new imprints rising at lightning speed. It is important at this point to highlight a few success stories in the industry of children's publishing. HarperCollins launched a new imprint called Heartdrum. According to its official webpage, quote, "Heartdrum is a new imprint that will offer a range of heartfelt, innovative, groundbreaking and unexpected stories by native creators for all ages, with an emphasis on the present and future of Indian country and on the strength of young native heroes." Unquote. Works like Cynthia Latich Smith's Ancestor-approved intertribal stories for kids. The poetic cover. Are not only culturally significant, but also extremely popular. In fact, the vast majority of positive feedback on seller platforms such as Amazon.com derives from non-native readers, which explains why the Own Voices-inspired picture book propelled a huge rise in readership in the first place. Not only did Native American people need to tell their own stories, non-Native Americans and non-Americans also needed to hear them. After years of deafening silence, a stream of influential Own Voices picture books began to circulate in the market, challenging traditional norms and redefining the very essence of what constitutes a picture book. Versify, an imprint of Harcourt, published Kwame Alexander's The Undefeated. The cover looks like this. Powerful. Winner of the 2020 Caldecott Medal, the book showcases the bravery and the faith of African Americans who dared to dream a better life. In reference to slavery, Alexander refuses to sugarcoat black carnage, redefining the norm of appropriacy. Orchard Books, an imprint of Hachette, published Tammy Charles' highly awarded All Because You Matter. The amazing cover looks like this. It celebrates the beauty and resilience of black children all around the globe. Its lyrical directness challenges narrative norms, creating a speaking voice which caresses black children in a transcendent, almost cosmic way. Roaring Brook Press, an imprint of Macmillan, published Carol Lindstrom's We Are Water Protectors. The cover, stunning. Winner of the 2021 Caldecott Medal and #1 New York Times bestseller, This picture book introduces indigenous American myth with concerns over the corruption of the earth and its water. Therefore, it disrupts not only the dominant worldview of treating nature as a resource, but also the sense of urgency and intensity with which it is appropriate to introduce the issue of oil dependence to young children. Even though Amazing Own Voices picture book rejuvenated the publishing industry, redefining every norm imaginable, the pandemic abruptly brought picture book reading to a halt. Schools, libraries, and bookshops closed shut. With a lack of available resources, how would there be story time for children? Most publishing houses were quick to respond to the COVID crisis. School Library Journal sums it up. Quote, "To help educators and librarians engaged in online learning and story times held via Zoom and other virtual means, many publishers relaxed copyright restriction on their works at the start of the pandemic." Unquote. Some publishers, such as HarperCollins, even went as far to respond to lockdowns with a highly personal message. Quote, "This permission grant is to best serve the community of readers out there who need us right now." Unquote. In this way, a new intermediate genre was born during the pandemic, that of the picture book video read aloud by authors, illustrators, teachers, and librarians. As every birth leads to a new dynamic, this type of video contributes positively to the fluctuating landscape of digitally induced and digitally sustained racism. In Race and Media, Guido Lopez is illuminating, quote, "Our understanding of what race is, how race works in US society, and what it means to belong to a specifically racialized body are all informed by media and technologies. As such, engagement with media can lead to a confirmation of racist ideologies and the structures that sustain racism, or can open up possibilities for resistance, struggle, and rethinking." Unquote. The new genre of picture book video is challenging in that it resists and rethinks via a combination of fiction, poetry, drama, painting, architecture, music, and live performance, almost like an art installation surrounded by performing artists in a vanguardist happening. In order to analyze the dynamism of the read aloud video, a favorite picture book among children was chosen, the awarded Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry. The cover is to die for. It looks like this. Published by Cocula, a fast-growing imprint of Penguin children dedicated to the stories of marginalized communities, Hair Love is a touching, humorous tribute to the daughter and father bond, shattering stereotypes of African American hair being a nuisance. Hair Love by Sean Stories is a picture book video read aloud with no added music, allowing the listener to focus on the musicality of the human voice. Hair Love, read by Ms. Smith, offers an entirely different visual and auditory experience. Even though it too lacks music, the reader is constantly visible, acting out the dialogue in different speaking voices and adding performative bravado. Brightly Storytime adds soft instrumental music as a background to Hair Love, contributing to a more relaxed mood. Snugglebug Storytime opts for instrumental music with piano crescendos, rendering its reading of Hair Love more dramatic. Librarian Mrs. Agbabiaka uses music with a strong beat, giving a modern twist to her read aloud. Finally, Storytime Book Club adds a musical piece so intense that two parallel narratives eventually emerge, one that is lexical and one that is musical. Amazingly, there are more than 100 read-alouds on Hair Love available on YouTube alone. In general, there are picture books that are read aloud by children, others that are acted out by puppets, and in some cases, picture book videos are brought to life by dyslexic readers, adults or minors, with interesting repercussions related to the inclusivity and creativity of lexically impaired individuals. The learning potential inherent in picture book videos is startling. Revisiting Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, children who watch read aloud picture book videos can digitally approach the learning style that suits them best. No matter if they are musical, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, or spatial types of learners, picture book videos make it possible for different readers to reap different benefits from the same literary work. In this case, the intermedial hybridity of picture book videos facilitates memory, deepens comprehension, and anchors lexical, semantic, and pragmatic awareness. Amidst the own voices picture book revolution, increasingly more voices are raised that speak of cacophony. On March 2, 2021, BIPOC young adult author Rinchu Pecco interestingly tweeted, quote, "I am no longer using hashtag own voices for my books, and I encourage others to do the same. Originally conceived to celebrate us, it's now instead used by publishers as a cudgel to deny BIPOC authors book deals, forcing them to come out to defend the truth in their books." Unquote. The tweet gathered thousands of likes in a matter of hours, raising many fiery and challenging questions. Has the Own Voices picture book edifice painstakingly erected itself into a prison cell with bars of freedom? Is there some kind of truth that BIPOC authors need to defend? Is there a specific theme or issue that BIPOC authors are expected to explore? Is the Own Voices picture book becoming a cleverly crafted marketing device, a cudgel, forming BIPOC writers into newly charted areas of conformity? Last but not least, aren't BIPOC creators free agents, able to write about anything, anyone, and in any way they wish? Telling people how and what to write, even when the advertised aim is to celebrate marginalized identity, could be perceived as just another form of censorship. Edward Said made the following statement, quote, "I am interested in the tension between what is represented and what isn't represented, between the articulate and the silent. That's why I have been very interested in excluded voices." Unquote. In children's publishing, marginalized groups have been rendered unrepresented and silent for a great number of years. Today, as Own Voices picture book authors are beginning to shatter bonds of exclusion, as fascinating new writers emerge with fascinating new stories to share, perhaps publishers simply need to let BIPOC authors speak. The time has come for everyone to be heard, in whichever manner they themselves consider fit, appropriate, and liberating. Thank you very much for listening.